the apostles of Christ, St. Peter, St. Paul, James, and Matthew and Mark, and even the ones after they were on earth, they all exhorted believers to manifest behavior worthy of Christ, worthy of being a Christian, that we're supposed to exhibit certain actions and words and postures that reflect God's goodness and His grace and His holiness and His purity. And that's a key, that's evidence of who we are inside. You know, we have the spirit inside, and then we have our nature. Our nature often struggles, you know, against the spirit's desires, because the spirit within us yearns for God and wants to do what God wants and wants to please God. But our nature sometimes wants to go against that, contrary to those traits and those attributes and those good desires. So it's a constant subjecting our bodies to the Spirit, to God's Spirit within us, subjecting ourselves to God by His Spirit, through His Spirit, and from His Spirit. Because according to the holy people of God in ancient times, they said that the Spirit should be the foremost thing that we seek after, you know, God's Spirit, the things of the Spirit. The Spirit is what connects us with God in a holy union, you know, like a holy matrimony. And there's a bond of peace. If our bodies are in line with the Spirit, there's a peace. There's a bond. It ties together. It's harmonious, and there's lots of benefits in being in line with the Spirit, because we don't have to. It helps reduce stress. It helps reduce tension and anxiety and all these things that typically people are concerned with in this world. Because when we're in the Spirit, those concerns become irrelevant, or minimized, because we're looking at the big picture. You know, we're just on this little tiny speck of dust, you know, spinning in the whole universe, amongst many other universes and galaxies and planets and suns and stars. So when you look at the big picture, even beyond the Hubble telescope, you realize that what are we really supposed to be concerned with? What are we worried about? Is it really significant? Is it worthy of being worried about? You know, God, the Creator, who created all these galaxies and stars and living entities, is bigger than all of our fickle desires and what we think we want and what we think will bring us happiness and contentment. That's a narrow view. And we're supposed to have a very big, broad view. Not broad in the sense of, in the negative sense, but in the positive sense. broad in the fact that we see beyond the here and now. We see the spiritual things. We see eternal things. We see heavenly, kingdomly things. We see things as Christ saw them, as the holy men of God in the ancient times saw them, the prophets and Moses. And we have to see the big picture, that God fills heaven and earth, and he's even exists outside of heaven and earth. So if we have a big picture, we'll be able to see God and his character and his attributes. And that will help us have the supreme perspective and attitude. And it'll motivate us to do what is right in the sight of God. Because that's what the ultimate concern should be. Is it right in the eyes of God? What we think, say, or do.